Hello and welcome to Quick Tip 91, and I had a question about how you go about writing a program that shows the highest volume of the day and when that volume occurred on RadarScreen. So what I've actually done is written the program so we can apply it also to a chart and to RadarScreen to demonstrate the differences. And the program itself is very simple. What we do, we have a variable called highest volume. At the beginning of the day, we set the highest volume to 0. And then as the day goes by, we compare the volume, which is using the keyword ticks. Now, volume in TradeStation can be a little confusing. So what I've done is put a link here, which explains the various keywords. You might think the keyword was volumes, actually ticks for the symbols and the time frames we're looking at. So we're saying if ticks is greater than the highest volume, which is set to 0 at the beginning of the day, then the highest volume is equal to the number of ticks. So if we start the day and the volume becomes 100 is the highest volume. If we go to the next bar and the volume for that bar goes up to say 200, then 200 is greater than the highest volume so far, which we just said was 100, therefore the highest volume becomes 200, etc. And we just evaluate that for each bar. At the same time, when it does occur, we set the time highest volume to the bar date time of that bar, which we're converting to a string. And then a lot of the rest of it is I've just put in some print statements which we don't need to be concerned about. And then at the bottom we've got the plot. So what I've done is I've said if the get app info AI application type is equal to, in other words, this is a RadarScreen. If you're not familiar with that, you can just right click on AI application type is 2. Then we're going to plot the time. Whether it's a RadarScreen or a chart, we're going to plot the highest volume and the volume for the current bar using ticks. So you can see on the chart, you can see we're plotting the volume for each bar, and then we're plotting the highest volume. And that is the same value, the cyan color, which we can see on the chart. So you can see CDW, if we just look at that symbol on the chart, you'll see the highest volume is 10596, and on the chart 10596, and then you can see the bar volume for the specific bar. Then additionally on the RadarScreen we've included the date and the time when that occurred. So looks like that occurred at 21:59. So we'll see on the CDW, no, it actually occurred at 2200 hours. Okay, so that's so far so good, pretty straightforward, but there are potentially a few things that you can have problems with. So what I've done, I've mentioned that on the program page, but with RadarScreen there are a couple of additional settings. So what I'm going to do, just going to go to edit the studies. So here we have the customize indicator for this indicator, Quick Tip 91. We've got a couple of settings here. One is the maximum bars study will reference. We've left that at auto detect, but the other one is load additional data for accumulative calculations. Now we're using a 1 minute bar here, and I've set that number at 1440. So let's just try and explain what those two things do if you're not familiar with them. First of all, the MaxBarsBack. This is telling RadarScreen how many bars to load before we start processing the program. Now, it does not process the program on those bars, but it provides data if, for example, we need to look back a certain number of bars. So our program might be the average of the current bar and the bar 20 bars ago. If that were the case, then we'd need to set the MaxBarsBack to be equal to 20 or greater so that we can have access to the value 20 bars ago. Now, in the current case, we are more concerned about load additional data for accumulative calculations, because what this means is that RadarScreen will go through the program on each of those bars before the current bar, and we need that in this program because obviously we need to look back a number of bars at least equal to the number of bars in the day so that we can actually check that this bar or a specific bar, whether it is the highest bar in the day. Now, since we're using a 1 minute bar, we need a number of 24 hours times 60 minutes, 1440 bars. And if you just remind yourself, you'll see again that we've set that in that case. If that is not set to that, then what we will probably find is that we're not getting an accurate value, or it's potentially we would not get an accurate value. So we need to be very careful about using that value. Okay, well, hopefully this might be useful for you. Thank you very much.